So I have to tell you that, as I'm sure many of you know, today's been a very hard day. And I want to name it. I think it's been in the room, and I want to name it. That many of us who come from the farm worker community feel pretty devastated today. And I think that many people feel devastated about hearing the news related to Cesar Chavez and the allegations that have been made against Cesar Chavez. I think many people in this room and many people around the United States and probably in other parts of the world are reeling a bit today to learn about the accusations that have been made against him and having committed sexual violence against women and teens. And I raise it here because I want to be honest about what we're feeling and name that is something that we all learned today. And it is directly connected to the work and to the mission of Justice for Migrant Women. And I've been in conversation with both of you and with many, many other people over the last few days about this, really in the last day about what was released. And I think the number one question that I come back to and that other people have been raising is, how do you manage this information? How do we contend with this information? And Tarana, I think that God sent you to this place today to help us know how to manage this information, because it isn't easy, and it's something that weighs heavy on our hearts. And in your work, for the many years that you've been doing your work, there have been heroes in other instances that have fallen. And I would love if you could share with us a bit of wisdom on how you think that we should approach managing this information in this moment.
Yes, for sure. And I appreciate you bringing it in the room. I think it makes sense for us to certainly name it and name what we're feeling. I would say this, because I have been down this road. I think first and foremost, folks need to allow themselves to grieve. Yeah. Right? Allow yourself, there should be no guilt in that feeling. And no shame in that feeling. We have to allow ourselves to grieve the person who we thought. We have to allow ourselves to grieve for what's coming, and to grieve for the harm that happened, right? There's a lot of sorrow and grief, and I think give yourself permission to sit with that feeling. Give yourself permission to mourn. When we try to immediately go to solutions and frameworks and those kind of things, it comes back to bite us, because you need to give yourself time to sit with the reality and the gravity of what it is we're dealing with, right? I think allowing ourselves to mourn also allows ourselves to open up and make the kind of space we need to both give her and the other women who were named what they need, which I would say the second thing is, in a time like this, it really is really important to know who your leaders are, right? And to have, so you are an amazing leader, and particularly an amazing leader in this community. I think your voice and your guidance in this moment is so helpful, because people literally don't have language to talk about this. They don't have language to understand. And it may be a knee-jerk reaction to be like, but no, he's our hero, or no, why now? All of the kind of things. And the people who are saying that may not even, they may not even feel a way towards the people, the women who are coming forward. It's them not grappling with their own grief, right? So that's why it's good to take time to grieve. Those of you who don't know, I lived and worked in Selma, Alabama for many years. I worked with many heroes, who people would think of as heroes, and movement leaders from the civil rights movement, from the voting rights movement, from the labor movement, from, just movements from the 70s, 60s, and 70s. And in my book, I talk very much detail about Reverend James Neville, who was a chief lieutenant for Dr. Martin Luther King. He was the architect of the Selma to Montgomery March. He was the architect of Birmingham Children's March. He is the one who orchestrated making those movements, those moments happen so that there will be pictures of the brutality that was happening during the Civil Rights Movement. He was probably one of the most brilliant strategists of the time. And he was also a pedophile and a child molester and a serial rapist. And he did that, and he believed in it. It's too much to get into here, but he believed in that, and he operated that way until he died. I wrote about my experience having him come into Selma as an elder and watching everybody else protect his legacy. And because they did that, more people were harmed. And so I think the final thing I'll say is, there's a lesson here for us about how we lionize folks inside of our movements, or lionize folks who do things that make us feel good, make us feel seen. We've seen it over and over, whether it's Bill Cosby or, the list goes on and on and on. We've seen this kind of thing over and over and over, where we have to figure out how we can to have some nuance around this, so that we're able to appreciate the accomplishments, acknowledge the achievements without adding reverence for the person, right? Appreciation for the person, appreciation for what they gave us, for the sacrifices, all of those things. We can hold that while we also withdraw rather the reverence, right? So that we can have some perspective about the humanity. And what matters most in these moments is that we always think about the humanity of the person who caused the harm, but it's the persons who were harmed whose humanity is most precious in this moment. Because they were dehumanized and continue to be dehumanized as long as they had to stay silent to protect this person who we lionize. So I think if nothing else, we need to really, take the time to mourn, but as we come out of mourning, I think this gives us an opportunity to think about our role in lionizing these figures in our movements who are human beings, who are very flawed sometimes. And we need to have a perspective